All right, so this is our second monthly Glowforge virtual meet and greet. The last one was pretty successful. People have found it. People have commented. I think about 380 views or something in that neighborhood of that, so that's pretty good. So congrats, everybody. Nobody, hated us or poo-pooed the whole idea, so that's awesome. And today we have...
We're famous now.
What was that, Ben?
I said we're famous now.
Yes.
Sorry.
We're internet famous. So we have Ben. Mr.
Hello.
Brandon.
Hi.
Rebecca, who's codenamed Flat. Apparently that's her seal name. Marion.
Howdy.
Mr. Rick.
Hello.
And Mr. Philip, or Tacitus. Or Tacitus.
Hello.
So obviously we know what happened this week that everybody is freaking out about. And we have the beta. It's happening.
Yeah.
So what are you guys thoughts about that? I'm glad that it started. Frickin' A.
Yeah, I'm very glad as well. I think a lot of us have been speculating that perhaps there was this secret beta going on and this and that. There might still have been one, but I'm glad to see that there's a beta going on.
Yes, a unit in Seattle somewhere, an undisclosed location. Well, I mean, it was getting to the point where it was almost too late, but they pulled it through, I guess. When did they start? December? Pre-December? Asking people to submit their application.
Yeah.
No, I think it was after Christmas, was it?
No, because I was teaching class. I was giving a final while I was filling out my form.
Yeah, I want to say it was early December.
Yeah. Okay. So 4 months in, and then they supposedly ship in less than 2 months.
I think if I think what they're probably going to end up doing is just shipping out betas, and if you get a beta and you get to keep it, they're going to ship you out your laser, and then have you return the beta, or at least they're going to leave the betas out until they start shipments, because that way, they're going to be working on the software continually.
Yeah. But the interesting fun fact is that he said that the unit that Josh got was a production unit, so not a.
I don't know.
The opposite. He said that it was not off the production line.
I thought he said he did. Okay.
Yeah, and that it was a well-used machine, and I suspect what it is one of their prototype machines that they've gone ahead and dropped some new boards in a new tube, that type of thing, and so his beta is, it doesn't have the new power supply. I don't know, but it's probably as much testing the software as it is the machine itself.
I think that's the goal, is the software.
Yeah. I think, didn't they mention that even if they release, after they're out in the wild, that you have an option of getting onto the beta firmware after the fact? That'd be kind of interesting, or dangerous, however you want to look at it. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's one of those situations, too, where you can talk about it, but don't ask him questions.
Yeah.
And apparently everything he says has to be approved. That's pretty much what I've gathered so far.
So I haven't been on the community website this week. Has he posted a lot of stuff?
One thing, he cut out the little gauge. Somebody said the appropriate name of that earlier.
Dividers.
Yes, thank you. And he made some comments about that. And then Dan mentioned that it was smelly. So that means that nickname, the machine should have been called Stinky. That would have been funnier.
Yeah.
Well, he's only had it
He's
for a
being
night, so I'm sure he stayed up pretty late messing with it. But the amount of stuff that you can get out in one night, especially if they didn't let him know that it was coming.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that we probably can't ask him any of that till it's all done and over with. Like, how did that all start? Did they approach you, or did they just literally show up like the sweepstakes?
Actually, kind of surprised me. I mean, if it was me, I'm actually a reasonably honest person, but at the same time, I would have taken one of their prototypes and funneled it off at the end of December and say, hey, there is a beta out there, and it would save themselves an awful lot of grief. Somebody to actually just play with what little bit of software they had at the time. It would have been truthful, and it wouldn't have everybody screaming for the last 3.5 months.
Yeah.
I think they just had. I mean, from what Dan said, I think that they really needed to get the hardware in line before anything. And it sounded like that power supply was the biggest thing in the way of getting units ready for production.
Right.
And I mean, you don't want to ship people something that you're going to be beta testing the hardware if you don't. You can do all that in house.
Well, you can't test the software in house.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but I'm just saying that the whole reason for doing it is to have independent verification of the capabilities and
Right.
and that type of thing.
Right. Yeah, the software's the kicker. They just had to get the hardware working first, which took them way longer than they expected.
Yeah, I thought it interesting, one of the comments they made, that the power supplies were done by a third party, and I guess most of us thought that Ava was designing the power supply the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting fun fact. Considering that one of their engineers, they specialized in power supplies for, I believe, NASA or something like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're a defense contractor, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting little nugget of information. So aside from that, do you guys think that this is like the little drip and it's going to turn into a huge tap and every other day we're going to hear about people getting betas, or do you think that's going to be it between now and June?
I think it's a drip.
Yeah.
Drip.
Oh, it's unfortunate, but it's possibly true.
I'll have a bucket ready, but it'll be.
Well, he said that Josh can post video, he can post pictures, so I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot more information now. They just needed to keep their heads down and get things moving to the point where they could release something that people could play with, and then it was, at that point, it's going to open up. I mean, it seems like Josh is going to be able to post a lot of stuff, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he'll demonstrate the pass-through feature that's even enabled in that unit.
They give him a basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we don't know. So it's not a pro, it's just a basic one?
Yeah, okay.
From the pictures, that didn't look like there was a pass-through slot.
And the filter, no filter.
No, they didn't say anything about the filter.
I mean, I just assume with the external exhaust that it's a basic without filter, since it's got the exhaust going to the window.
Yeah, with cardboard.
Well,
I
I
thought
think,
that was,
yeah, I think I saw a picture of that.
Yeah.
it's the silver Home Depot 4-inch dryer tube to a cardboard hole with two pieces of cardboard, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, I see it now in the...
It's a basic unit, but even on day one, they said that when they finally ship, the basic, the pro out, that the filter unit may come after that. So, folks that are hoping to get them all at the same time, it may not happen.
Yeah, I was mostly pointing out of the fact that there was zero discussion about it since we know of its existence, really. Even when they go to trade shows, they have an external unit that's underneath the table, and in some cases a chiller too. So.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm going to be honest, I hope they don't delay our shipments of the Glowforge until the filter is ready. I'd rather get the Glowforge and then 2 months later get the filter.
Yeah, that would make sense too. Hit the go button
Yeah.
in manufacturing and then deal with that later.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about the pro software. Give me the pro with the basic software, and I'll be happy for a while.
Yeah.
Make me wait for the pass-through.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, I don't need the pass-through for at least a few months.
It's not a question of we're shipping out basics first, basic hardware first, and then we still got to do work on the pro. It's going to be pro and basic model hardware shipping out as they were ordered, I assume.
And from what he said, they're going to be shipping at the same time, and the major difference there is that I don't think most of the pro features are done in the software, so we're all basically going to have basics.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I'd rather have something instead of nothing.
Yeah. I mean, that's
we have to assume that the pro tubes, the pro Peltier cooler, and all that stuff is, ready at the same time as all the basic parts too. So it'll be, if they have all the parts ready, it'll go out at the same time. But if not, one's going to be delayed before the other.
Yeah, and that's not something we're going to know until the last minute, anyways.
Right.
Kind of like the Oculus shipment.
That's true. That's a very valid point. One of the other things that we saw was the demo of the software, which I was talking to Philip, and we were trying to figure out, well, he said it was a web app, but I was curious to know if that was the Illustrator plugin or if that was a web app or whatever. But it was kind of interesting that we see the layout of how everything is set up. The most obvious thing is you have the My Designs in the upper corner, which is cool. So we already know that once you create a design and you move it from Illustrator to the Glowforge cloud, then that gets uploaded to their cloud. The advantage to something like that is that means if I'm on another machine, like for example, remotely or whatever, I can always pull back that. And I don't think you can manipulate it, I guess, but you can reprint it. And then the steps, which everybody was freaking out about. And
that you have to engrave before you cut? Is that what you mean?
I don't know. I mean, I figured that was adjustable. I mean, I didn't really see the huge.
Yeah, I see.
And then the ominous manual button, which I'm curious about.
A turkey hand?
And the engrave by shade.
Oh.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have cut, engrave, manual, and ignore. So, thoughts on what manual means?
So what do the three sliders stand for?
Well,
that's just whatever icon they had available in their icon library, but I want to say that's like
of speed, power.
Well, feed, speed, power, defocusing.
Right.
Probably setting origin. So instead of homing wherever, not home, specifying where the start point of a job. Either it's the center or one of the corners.
Well, let's hope. I brought up on the forums that I'd really like numeric entry there. To say, from the corner of this piece, I'd like to be able to put it, 5 millimeters to the right, or, rotate it by this many degrees exactly, because when you're doing something specific, you need to have it spot on.
Yeah, because in my case, I'm taking something that I've CNC'd, and in that post-processor or the CAM part of that, I know where the origin point is, and I know the distance. So if I engrave something in it with like a ball mill or something fancy, and I want to put something around it, I kind of need to know where the machine thinks dead center is for me to set that up, right? I mean, I know you can drag and drop it, but you're not going to get it like super precise. So some sort of manual.
And I'm way too OCD for that.
Yeah. So unless it sees the edge and it creates a like virtual vectored line of where it thinks or what the object is, and then it does the, okay, this is the width and divides in half, which we don't know. That'd be kind of nifty. So it's kind of like a virtual touch-off. So you touch off one point, and then you tell it divide in half. But we don't know, because that's one of the pieces of information that we don't have.
Yeah.
Well, my thought is that... sorry, I'm going to keep going. My thought is that for every material, there's going to be a preset setting for cut and a preset setting for engrave. But if you want to use something different from the preset, I'm thinking that's what manual would be about.
Yeah, but you
so
can
you can say, I want this much power.
Yeah, you
can create your own database, but if you want to kind of... Yeah. I'm not sure. That's my initial thought on it, but I might not know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, where's the positioning? So, like, how do you indicate positioning? And
well, I'm guessing that's the arrow in the hand up at the top corner. You can select something, and then with the hand, move it around on your material.
Hmm.
You might be able to. There might be a button somewhere that allows you to specify coordinates, but
Yeah.
I don't see that button.
Well, there is the advanced options at the very bottom of that square that has cut, engrave, manual, and ignore.
Oh, so what I think that is probably because they have multiple shades of engraving, that'll let you choose how much power and maybe tweak that per shade. You know, the first shade I want it X power, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So basically, in other words, in this area I want it really dark, in this area I want it really light.
Mm-hmm.
So that would dynamically adjust feeds and speed.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool if it works.
I hope so, and it's also cool that they put a little estimate on the cut time over in the left.
Yeah, they've had that since day one, and they were. I remember Dan really showing that off in the tested video. Like, you know, and Will was like, "Wow, it only says 4 minutes," and he goes, "Yeah, you know, most laser jobs average under 15 minutes." But that's pretty neat. And then you have the ominous print button.
So, do you see the time?
On the left, we're right
Under
above.
step 2. Yeah. I see it. 7 minutes, 49 seconds. All right, I see it.
And then you have the print button, which is, it's not really printing, but I guess I kind of get where they're going with that.
Yeah.
Right.
The go button.
Yeah, go, start, but
Yeah.
print, huh?
I'm okay with print. It doesn't bother that it says print as opposed to something else, to cut or something else.
And one of the interesting thing too is if you look at the picture of it looking down at the wasteboard, the perspective is dead on, dead center, but as you get towards the edges, it almost looks like it's looking down at an angle. So I'm wondering if that camera is a fisheye, and they're actually compressing the image inwards to make it look like it's square.
They are. I found some Glowforge code from over a year ago that were running tests on fixing the barrel distortion.
So that's interesting. I just now noticed that on the very bottom. That's pretty cool. I mean, it would have been nice to see like a video of this actually in use, like somebody actually dragging something in or loading something from Illustrator or Inkscape and actually going through that. Because when we saw the demo with the guy from Boing Boing, I think, when he was in another state and he was using Illustrator, the plugin didn't look anything like this. It was basically drag, drop, cut, engrave, start. You know, it wasn't as elaborate as this.
Yeah, he was going from Illustrator straight to the Glowforge server for queuing up that info. And, you know, who's to say this interface is actually real in any way? It could just be a photoshopped UI.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I didn't want to be cynical. I'm hoping this is actually happening. I mean, the big things is like the Paul Bunyan in the upper corner, and it has Dan's face there. I mean, we could all probably pick this apart, but I'm hoping this is real.
Well, he said when I asked him about the 3D engraving and the grayscale that they are not at grayscale point, but they are at the point where they're able to engrave by shade. So that makes sense that all this is actually functional stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to be able to do photos and whatnot, but it's not like a mission critical day one feature for me. I mean, I'm sure a lot of.
As long as I can cut.
For me, it's
as long
more
as I can cut,
where it's like I want to know that the quality is what I need it to be before I can't cancel anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's gonna be, but you know, it'd be nice to see before we ship out.
You were talking about the grayscale, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
About 4 days ago, you said that the power supplies were to the point to where they could vary a vector, a line, you know, vary the power over the vector, but not for raster work. So.
Well, he said they just haven't got to writing the code for that part yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, the power supply probably is able to do it, it's just they haven't, that function's not there yet. So.
Yeah.
I would imagine most of your engravings would be done raster-wise.
Yeah, because that would be really cool to, you know, do a grayscale of a photo and then cut out the exact edge of that person of said photo, or whatever shape you want, so their face, and then cut out a star. So it would go through, raster, and then on the last path, boom, full power, cut straight through. Tons of possibilities. Can't wait. It's like seeing the Star Wars trailer when they kept saying December, and it's like, why isn't it December already? So in this case, it's June. They should do like a movie trailer, and it should say June.
But I have to say that the GUI looks really nice. You know, it looks so much simpler than the Epilogue one that I've used, and it looks easy to use.
Yep, it's material design, I think is what they call it these days. Simple, flat colors, basic text.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's.
As long as they can do everything.
I could see my kids using this. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What was that, Philip?
I was gonna say, as long as they can do everything that a standard laser cutter can do, plus the Glowforginess.
Laser cutter.
Then I'll be. What did I say? Did I say laser printer?
Yes, you did.
Oh man, dude, they're getting in my head.
Yeah, as long as it can do what a basic 40 to 45 watt Epilogue basically can do, then I'm happy. The 3D stuff and like the little pyramid demo that you did in the beginning, that was really cool, but not really mission critical. Tier 2 function, Tier 3 function, not out of the gate function. You know?
Yeah, you're going to do that stuff with that machine right behind your head.
Could, yes. It'd be easier. It'd be messier, though.
I want to do it with both. I mean, I like my CNC machine, but if I can, it takes so long, and you have to use like, 4 different bits.
Yeah, the big thing is tapered end mills, but that's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing that we were thinking about is basically collaboration. We had our first project from beginning to end, well, and to the fact of Josh actually cutting it out, was that little caliper thing?
Dividers.
Thank you.
Well, we got to come up with a name because it's not just the dividers; it's a center finder. So
it's like a Symmetry Tester.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. I mean, that's
so what
like,
exactly is this tool used for?
Looked like it was some sort of center finder.
Yeah. It's interesting because like most on like a large Bridgeport or anything like that, if it has a DRO, it has that function in it. So you tell it what one edge is, and then you tell it what the other edge is, and then you tell it divide by half, and it tells you where dead center is. So this is a mechanical way of doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Instead of two arcs from the end and joining the tangent from that to divide it in middle. So, like, if you're trying to find the center of an irregular object to turn on a lathe,
yeah,
that could help it out there.
I would use it in sculpture to make sure that I'm putting things in the same place on both sides and make sure I have everything symmetrical and depths are the same.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Eye pupils.
Yep.
The pupil maker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the first public collaboration. I'm scrolling back to figure out who was the very first person who did it, but like 8 or 9 people kind of like made revisions to it. Oh, actually,
it was made by Nick. He said he found an old pair of calipers that he wanted to modify, and then I want to say it was
Josh.
Yeah, Josh put up the CAD model, and then Hirudin, sorry for mispronunciation, fixed it to where it was constantly level with the points. And it turned out that it was an awesome time for that to come out because it's right as Josh got his laser cutter, so timing couldn't be better.
Yeah. Pretty cool, pretty cool.
I just can't wait to see what everybody's posting with their lasers. And I'm glad that they let this beta be open.
Ish.
Yeah. Relative.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I think it's good that we're not supposed to ask him questions. Otherwise, he'd get bombarded with questions.
Which is understandable. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's just that there's like a couple non-specific, non-technical questions I'm sure we have, but it's one of those things where Dan's was like direct that to us, but then even then he selectively kind of answers.
We ought to be used to them not giving us answers to things that have nothing to do with their intellectual property or whatever. I mean, when he posts a picture of something, I'm not good in a box, and then doesn't explain what it is, that's going a little far.
Yeah, I call that what is it, TMZ? The TMZ shot?
Nice.
It's like on an angle, and it's just like two ominous boxes, and it's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
Are those Glowforges, or is that lunch? I don't know. But yeah, and no. I mean, I guess it's it's having fun, but it's just like we're all like, okay, we're in
I'm
month.
not having fun.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I wonder if they'll gather around the monitor and he's like, watch the responses pop up. Let's see what they say. Oh, they're getting angry now.
I hope not. I hope they're working on Glowforges, as they say. We're busy making Glowforges.
Yes, we're busy making Glowforge. Hey, it seems like a few more staff have been added in the last month. I hadn't looked for probably about a month, and there's more staff that I hadn't noticed before.
Which is a good thing. It's growth.
Yeah.
It's growth.
Hey, if they'll post on the forums.
I know. They're too busy making Glowforges.
Oh man, I'm sorry I even started that. So, and also, speaking of which, whatever happened to Laser Thursday?
Well, the last one was the putting the dividers out. So that was let's see if I can find that. That was two weeks ago. So that was. Yeah.
Well, it's Thursday. Let's see if there's anything new.
Yeah. Check out the.
But Dan doesn't hop on until midnight most of the time, Eastern time. So we'll see. Maybe he's gonna make Josh do it.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. So, anyone do Twitter? Follow him on Twitter.
See, it's funny because the whole Facebook thing popped up a couple days ago. So, my opinion about the other social network situations, like I initially, as an end user, I purchased it through Glowforge, and originally they were really pimping the hell out of the forums, and that's where I focus. So when they put stuff on Twitter and Facebook, I'm not gonna track all this stuff down. I just assume that they're gonna funnel it into one location that they really wanted people to use in the very beginning.
Right.
And I also assumed that when stuff got posted on the forums, it was relayed to Facebook. But then we found out recently that sometimes it gets posted on Facebook first and then relayed to the forums. So.
Well, they're gonna have to start. I'm pretty sure they're gonna start ramping up their social media presence now that they have stuff to show, because their Facebook page has been dead for months.
Stuff to show, like for example, what?
The Laser Thursday stuff. They've been posting on the Facebook page now.
Oh, yeah. The headphones and what was the other one?
The plant holder.
Yeah, the plant holder thing, yeah.
I guess the NPR project counts, sort of.
It was posted, yeah.
There was something on NPR?
Oh, no. Dan printed something for his brother, Ari.
Ah.
So, and that appeared on March 26th in Twitter. 28th.
Yeah, their presence on Facebook is about one post a month.
Yeah.
But 2 in March, one in April, and they've got some semi-pro photography going on with some of the later shots. So.
Yeah, my assumption is that once a physical retail unit ships, the world will know. Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, whatever have you. There will be posts everywhere. That's the other interesting thing too in the forums. Once they start shipping, that person will let us know when theirs will arrive. There will be no question about it. So. And also on that note too, and this is something that we had on an offline conversation, we just noticed there was a small influx of new users because old topics were kind of being revived.
You know, that could be due to the Mr. Beam, actually, because a lot of people, I've seen a lot of posts about Mr. Beam, and then everybody's like, oh, you know.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
Okay, fill me in on what Mr. Beam is.
Mr. Beam is more of an engraver. It's a 5-watt laser that has a lot of the same functionality as the Glowforge, supposedly, as far as the lid cam, the ability to trace what you've drawn, the ability to move things around via web interface.
Trace to draw function.
No trace to draw?
No, so the camera is basically to live preview your vector onto the whatever material you're engraving.
Well, it costs about the same as a Glowforge, but it's about 1/8 of the power.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are probably like, oh man, Mr. Beam, this looks cool. Oh wait, it can't cut through wood.
Yeah.
Well, 4 millimeters.
So, and this just came in recently, or?
Like a week? Is it?
Yeah, a week and a half ago, and it got a lot of energy on the post in terms of, you know, dogpiling on how lame it was to, you know, they're really doing, Dan stepping in and saying, well, you know, this is, the guys are doing what they need to do for this type of laser, you know. So keeping the discourse civil, but it got pretty interesting there.
I mean, to this day, I've read it over and over and over again, and I just didn't see the negativity. If they were talking about the power was low and whatever, but
no, it wasn't real bad. But some people were like, ah.
There was one guy that was definitely defensive, but yeah,
yes.
It is what it is.
Yes.
Oh wow! I just took a look at the Kickstarter page. It's already at $500,000.
Yeah, I mean, the last Mr. Beam sold really well. I almost bought one. It was just, for me, it was the power issue as well.
Hey, if you're in Europe, you're not going to, you don't have, it's a lot more expensive. Glowforge is a lot more expensive in Europe.
Yeah, and pay for that Glowforge shipping.
It's currently a Kickstarter, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I think the shipping date's supposed to be about 3 months from now or something like that.
Yeah, I think I read that they hit their goal in maybe 2 or 4 hours. Did somebody else read something like that? Mr. Beam?
It was really quick, and the alignment via camera, I think it was a huge selling point for that. So, I mean, like I said on the forums, kudos to them for getting out a functioning piece of software that has those capabilities before anybody else did. I think that was a big selling point for them.
Yeah, and do you know that's based off of Octoprint?
It's using Octoprint as like a controller.
Yep. Octoprint is a 3D printing, pretty, I don't want to say famous, well-known, I guess, 3D printer type control software. And that's what they're basing it off of. It's pretty cool.
That's not bad. I mean, I'm just wondering, I think most of the cost is coming from that software development and the maintenance of the software, because the rest of the hardware isn't super expensive. But soon, we will have a Glowforge.
Yes.
Just some of us sooner than others.
Well, aren't you one of the first, Rebecca? Is that what you said earlier?
I don't think I'm one of the first, but I think I'm in the low 1000s.
I consider that one of the firsts.
It's relative.
Yeah, it's
That's
relative.
like,
That's right.
cute video, have some money. I think that's what I was thinking.
I was sitting in a brewery having a couple of beers, and my impulse took over. I hadn't even heard of Glowforge until 2 hours before I ordered one. And I went ahead and sit there, and I found it online. I was looking through a tech site and spent about an hour and a half going through every video on the face of the planet and every review I could find, and decided to go for it.
I'm the same way. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca.
No, I actually heard about it months in advance, and all these stories kept showing up in my Zeit feed when Zeit was still working. So anyway, I kind of knew it was coming, and so I've already played the waiting game with Glowforge, so I think I'm okay waiting a little bit longer.
I mean, if it does everything it says it does for the price point, there's just nothing that compares with it.
Yeah. Hey, have any of you all actually read the terms and conditions and the terms of service?
Let's say you have.
Yeah, it's enlightening to say the least. I mean, obviously, I mean, you read Google's terms of service or whatever, and they have all the rights to do everything in the world, and the same thing with Glowforge. It's obviously there to protect the company, but there were a couple of things like, for instance, you can't go to a class action suit. For instance, if they disappear, there's no class action. It's one person at a time arbitration.
Yeah.
And so we lose our power completely there. So they could, in theory, I'm not saying they would, but I'm just saying in theory they could sell the company, walk away, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And that seems to be standard business practices these days with new.
They also say that the pre-production or the pre-orders will get the service, the basic service for free, whatever that is. But there is maybe other things beyond the basic service that you'll have to pay for. And of course, people who didn't get it in the pre-order period would have to pay for it. Now, I don't know what that means, pre-order. Are we still in pre-order? I don't know. I think we are.
Yeah, they haven't released anything, and they haven't upped the price on it, so it's still in pre-order.
Well, one of the things that caught my eye is that if shipping turns out to be higher than they expected, they can come back to you on shipping costs and actually charge more.
Kind of like the coolest.
So there are a lot of those things. I would suggest you actually just read through it.
That sounds like a good forum topic,
If you don't want to get in the beta.
See why I haven't brought it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not letting me in the beta anyway.
I'm okay. I'm that ship sailed, man.
Well, I fully expect to get a beta shipment, because where else can you shake, rattle, and roll something except for on the mountain roads of West Virginia?
That's right. That's right.
Well, they should give you one for free anyways. You've been like the FAQ master on the forums.
The memory.
I looked at my summary, and I don't know how they figure out this statistic, but I have been on the forum for 10 days, 10 reading days.
Oh, yeah.
10 reading.
Oh.
I'm scared to look at mine.
Yeah, I think I'm at reading over 20,000 posts now, individual
posts. Over 20,000 posts, yeah.
I'm at 4 days read time.
I can't figure out how they figure out 10 days read time. I mean, it's not like I just have my screen. I mean, my screen's open 24 hours a day, so it doesn't count.
They track movement between posts. They can say, he's been actively requesting pages from the site from this period of time to this period of time.
That's funny. I've never bothered to look at the summary page.
Yeah, I need to get a life because I'm also on the XCarve site.
Yeah, me too. Not as in
let's
depth.
see,
But
where are we? Total.
I'm only at 2 days of read time.
I'm 7 days.
Only 15,000 post read.
7 days.
Yeah, 6 days here. That's scary.
24 hours.
Boy, it makes me feel bad. I'm gonna have to ramp up how much I'm reading.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
yours are quality. Your quality participation. So I think you had a few really good how-to posts, and it's like, hey man, you've done your share.
Well, thank you.
It'll just be nice when people start sharing designs. I'm really looking forward to that. There's so many things you can make that are useful. It's just so much faster and easier in a laser cutter than is it on a CNC machine or a 3D printer.
Yeah.
There are so many things I want to make, but I find that most of them require both. I'm going to do parts of it on my CNC pickup. I don't like doing, I say there are certain things the laser's not good at, and there's some things that the CNC is not good at. I mean, like putting boxes together on the CNC with dovetailed. It doesn't work. You put there and do a backbone. It just looks ugly as hell. So.
Yeah. I just want to put my name on everything.
Well, that's probably what I'm going to use my laser for most. Well.
That's funny. Just recently, somebody had me engrave a brass insert for a soldering iron that has their signature, and they do wood furniture so they can burn their signature and everything.
So they can charge more?
I guess so.
I'm legit.
But yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a quick way to make something look professional.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I want to try to put an image on this thing.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just put engrave an image in here of something, some scene.
It already almost looks like the moon.
So any closing thoughts or any other subjects that you guys want to hit on?
I can't think of anything.
None? Nothing? Dan, if you're watching this, ship in June. All of them.
Yeah, I'll have a lot to say once I have a Glowforge.
Yes.
Or if you don't mind having Glowforges on the video, you can ship out betas, and we'll gladly show them here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a smooth operator right there.
Yeah,
That's right.
What I'm thinking about is how I'm going to do videos and pump them up to YouTube like they have done all the Inventables products, and where they gave their machines out for free and had people review them. Well, at least allow that to happen on the beta unit. It'd be great.
Oh, I'll make 12 accounts and dress up in 18 different outfits. That's what it takes.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Inventables is they kind of really pimped out the XCarve. Pretty much every channel I am subscribed to, they got an XCarve. That's pretty interesting. Even Darista got one.
I know.
I'm relatively happy with the way that the Glowforge leadership has communicated with us. Obviously not quite enough, but the way at least that he has communicated with us. Take a cue from the Inventables folks. That's got to be the best company I've ever worked with.
I was very happy during my order process with Inventables. They were really nice to me. And Dan said he's really close with the owner of there. And, I mean, you can see where the influences come from. So I'm glad to see that that's, across the board. And I hope it continues. And I really like my XCarve, so I'm expecting a lot of good things from the Glowforge.
Yeah, high standards. High standards. Well, I mean, I hope everything works out. I hope there's no behind-the-scenes type issues that we just don't know about that's going to get slammed on us at the last possible second. But otherwise, I guess everything's looking good. We have a unit in the wild.
I think we'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, even today on one of the Facebook threads, there was a comment thread about 10 comments. Then I jumped in and basically saying, "Is this for real? Is the Glowforge really for real? Is it vaporware? Are they going to ship? You know, kind of thing." And so, you know, there's definitely some public perceptions and publicity work to be done, I think. But I feel very strongly now about, yeah, they're actually going to ship something. So there's no, I mean, up to maybe 2 months ago, it was, yeah, are they really going to be able to pull this off or not? I mean, at all.
Yeah.
And I think I feel, especially with the beta out, say, yeah, it might be a little bit more of a wait, but they'll deliver.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's no doubt about that. And so.
All right. Well, I think this was a pretty successful conversation about the glow of the forge, or may the forge be with you. What was the? Speaking of which, what was the winning tagline? There was a post a while back.
It's laser
Yeah, I
time.
don't remember what the winning was.
Oh,
I know
you
this
don't understand. It's a laser. Or I have a laser. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. The quote, "It's laser time," is in the software.
That's right. It's laser time.
It's in the software.
Yeah. No kidding.
That's funny.
I
That's
wish
funny.
I could have retracted mine.
What did you say, Rick?
I say I wish I could have retracted mine because I caused heartburn to poor Josh. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, "You can do a lot of things with an inch and a half," and he was not. He just couldn't bring himself. I understand completely. There's no way that he could forward that one on.
Oh man. On that note.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Wow.
And knowing is half the battle. Okay, well, I thank everybody for coming. It was a pleasure as usual. We'll have another one of these in about a month-ish. It's not exactly 30 days, but a month-ish. Maybe it'll pick up once we all get Glowforges. But,
Unless something amazing happens.
Yes.
And we might have to have a reconvene earlier.
You see Dan sitting on top of an SUV in Seattle screaming, "You get a Glowforge, you get a Glowforge."
Yeah.
No Glowforge for you.
All right. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Eve.
No problem.
Take it easy, guys.
Good night.
See y'all.